It's the weekend and you have financial questions that need answering. That can only mean one thing. It's time for Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. It is the first show of March. How exciting. We are here to try to help you make better financial decisions, and we do that by encouraging you to go to our website, jillonmoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and you can send us a note. If you would like to join us on the air live, then all you need to do is check that box. And if you want to join us via video, there's also a box for that as well. Today, we are beginning the program with Linda, who's on the line from Connecticut.
So I'm just a few years out from retirement, or starting to think about retirement. And I'm making the most that I've been making ever in my career. And
Congratulations.
Yeah, I still seem to be struggling though. So I'm trying to figure out if I'm on the right track with my current plan to be able to, retire sometime between 62 and 65.
How old are you today, Linda?
I'll be 56 this year.
Okay. And how much do you earn?
About 127 plus a bonus between 5 and 7%.
Is that bonus consistent?
Yes.
Okay. And are you single or are you partnered, married?
I am single.
Okay. Had to think about that, didn't you?
Well, I was going to say divorced, but yeah.
Yeah, we can say single. It's fine.
Yeah.
Kids?
3 kids.
Uh-huh. How old are they?
They are 24.
You have triplets?
I do.
Stop it.
Yes.
I need to know more. Wait a minute. First of all, I am married to an identical twin, so I'm so into the multiple birth thing. Are they all 3 fraternal?
Yes.
Or are there any? Yes. Okay. I cannot even believe it. Oh, God. What was the hardest year of being a parent with triplets?
Definitely the first year.
There's no way to do it.
No.
You're in a 2-3 zone. They've got 3. You only have 2 of you.
Exactly.
It's horrible.
Yep.
I can't even imagine. I hope you had help. Did you have parents who helped?
Yeah. So my mom actually would live with us for the first 3 months. And then I was pretty much on my own. Well, we were on our own.
Okay. Wow. And are they launched? Are they good?
So one, it had just moved out this year, living with his girlfriend. He's good. He's a nurse. His girlfriend's a nurse, so they're good. I have one who works for the railroad, and he's doing great as well. The other 2 are home, so the other 2 are still home.
Okay. And home is your home, and do you own that home or are you renting?
I do own the home.
How much is it worth?
Currently about $675,000.
And is there still a mortgage outstanding?
I do. I have $234,000 left on the original mortgage. Unfortunately, it's an adjustable. Right now, it's at 2.875. I have about 4 years left on that.
Oh, interesting. And what's the game plan? Do you want to stay in the house?
No, we actually were looking to potentially sell this year, but with the current state of the market, anything that I would gain from this sale, I would have to put into something else. And the interest rates are so high that I decided that it wasn't the great timing.
Okay. So you're waiting, but your hope is that before this thing adjusts, you'll be out.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
And I also have, I also have a home equity loan with about $57,000 on that at 6.25%.
All right. Well, already I feel like I understand what some of the pressure is on your cash flow. For the kids who are home, do they contribute to the household expenses?
They do. So I have an in-law apartment that I used for my parents who are no longer living there. But so one of them is living there.
Below market rent.
Yeah. Just helping out with the expenses. And the
good.
one that's living in the main house with me is also paying a little bit to go towards the expenses.
Okay, great. Now, Linda, on your $127,000 base, not including the bonus, but are you making retirement contributions?
Yes, up until this year, I was contributing 12% pre-tax, and then another 6% to a Roth 401.
And what happened this year?
I really started to feel the crunch of that. I had been increasing and increasing, and I just started to feel the crunch of my cash flow was really tight. So I have a little bit of outstanding credit card debt that I wanted to clean up. So I stopped contributing this year to concentrate on paying that off.
And have you paid it off?
Not yet, but I'm on track to probably by the end of March.
Do you still put in enough money to capture any match from your employer?
So my employer matches 3% up to up to the 6%, or 50% up to the 6% that I put in. But I also get, they also contribute they call it a non-contribution of another 6%. So no matter what I do, they contribute. So I could potentially get 9%.
And are you putting in 6% to capture the match?
No, currently I'm only getting that 6%.
Do you have any money in cash right now?
I have about $25,000 that I potentially could pay off the credit card with that, and have a little bit left over, but then that would leave
How
me.
much is the actual credit card balance that's outstanding right now?
15.
15. Okay. So there's 25 in cash. I want to go through this. How much is in your retirement account right now? Give me like a basic, like all together.
Yep. So in the 401k, at my present job, I have about $68,000. And then I have a rollover that has about 380, depending on the market, and 115 of that is in Roth, and the other is pre-tax.
Great. That's great. Okay, so that's good. Those are two good chunks of money. That's great. Any investment account that you have? Anything that's just like fund money account or anything like that?
No.
Okay. I-bonds, CDs, anything?
I have a $10,000 CD.
And what is that? What does that represent to you? Like, is that earmarked? Is that emergency?
Yeah, it's kind of all of the above.
Security. When does it come due?
April.
I totally get what the pressure is. So now I when you first started, I'm like, how could you be feeling pressure? Everything's fine. Okay. So you should, the 25 grand, and do you feel like you're secure in your job?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, good. That's an important thing, part of this. My hope for you is that we want to relieve your cash flow burden. So here's what I think you should do. Number one, take 15 grand out of your cash account, okay, and pay off the credit card debt right now. Be done. Just pay it off, okay? And then you are going to put your retirement contribution back to 6%, not 12. Go back to 6%. When your CD comes due, put it in your cash account. You will now have that money. Okay? That should help your cash flow right away. Because first of all, you not only have cash flow pressure, but you also are like this credit card thing is like weighing on you. We'll get back to Linda in just a minute. Remember, all the information about us lives on our website, JillOnMoney.com. That is our website. While you're there, you can check out all of our content. It lives at the JillOnMoney.com website. So there are podcasts, there's a blog, there's a video section, there's resources, so much there. The Jill on Money radio show. We'll be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, the program that tries to help you make somewhat better financial decisions. If you've got a question, just go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, and click the Contact Us button. While you're there, don't forget to sign up for the free weekly newsletter. It comes out every single Friday. Mark does a great job with that. And check out our YouTube show. We've got a link to that, Jill on Money, powered by the Compound. It's right there on the front door of our website. Okay, right now, let's get back to Linda, who's on the line with us from Connecticut. How did the credit card debt, was it like just over time? Did an event occur? How did we accumulate that?
Yeah, just over time, something here, little things here, little things there, some, house stuff, whatever. But
Okay.
yeah, nothing big.
I got you.
Yep.
All right. So if you were to do that, if we get rid of the credit card debt, right? Now you still listen, there's no getting out of that $57,000 of at 6.25. But I want to be clear about one thing. If you were to sell this house right now, okay, are you sort of like, okay, the kids will be on their own and like whatever the next move is, it's just you, right?
I believe so. Yes.
says
Me and the
says
dog.
a woman who has been beaten down by out of the blue things that come up from 3 different kids. But we know at least one of them is pretty good. Do you want to stay in your area?
I think so, but I'd like to potentially look to maybe buy something down south.
As a permanent or as an addition?
It would be maybe for like half of the year because I work from home. I can kind of work from anywhere.
Oh.
So maybe I would work, winter months down there and then back up here. So I'd like to have a place, both places.
I forgot to ask you this, but do you work in a place where you will have a pension?
I do not.
Okay. So, and what's your game plan in terms of how much more you're going to work? Because you said you're a few years from retirement, and the way I see it is you're not a few years. You're more than a few years. So what are you thinking?
I'd like to be able to say I'd make it to 65. So 9 years, I guess, is the goal.
Okay. So that's not a few. That's 3 times a few to me. Because are your kids nearby? Is that like the other piece of this, which is you want to stay in Connecticut because the 3 of them will all be there?
Yes.
Okay. And if you had to go out and buy a smaller place right now, what would that be for you? Like, what do you think that would cost you?
Connecticut's tough. It's
That's
expensive.
what I'm thinking about. You taking the equity and buying something south and renting in Connecticut.
Yeah, that's actually what my thought was as well.
Okay. So what would have to be down south to like buy? And I don't know what down south means to you, but like, what do you think you'd have to spend?
Maybe 300 to 2 to 3.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, I know.
By the way, just because you have $385,000 of equity in this house right now. So I think it's doable that you will not own 2 places, but that if you bought down south and that was your primary, and you could rent or maybe like, see what happens with the kids and, where they are. And then you rent up north is much, much more doable. Right?
Yeah,
because
agreed.
Then, okay. So, I mean, look, it's hard for me to gauge, like, do you have a sense of your real cash flow? It's just hard because you have 2 kids at home. So it's hard for me to figure out what your real cash flow would be. What do you think?
Yeah, I tried to do that. I tried to put something on paper, and it seems like it's between $500 and $5,500 maybe. And I know that seems high, but.
Well, it doesn't seem high if you think about your primary and your HELOC.
Right. That's about 1,500. So there's another. Yeah.
So to me, if you said, well, really, actually, if I didn't have that, it's 4,000. That seems about right. So if it was 4,000, have you run your Social Security benefit at your full retirement age or at age 70?
I have. So
what does that look like?
At 70, it's $37.46.
Do you have the kind of job where you could keep doing it like part-time or not so much?
I do.
You do. Here's what I think. You need to get out from under this. I can hear the pressure in your voice. I feel it. It's coming right through the lines. I think that you are going to relieve this pressure immediately by paying off the credit card. So that's number 1. So number 1, we're going to take the money from your cash account. You're going to pay off your credit card. When your CD comes due in April, you're going to leave it in cash. Don't renew it. Let's just kind of like reset for a second. Once you've paid off the credit card debt and the CD comes due in April, then at that point, you can put your contribution up to your 6% for your retirement account.
And is that going to be pre-tax or post?
I mean, I would do post-tax because you're not in a high tax bracket. So, you're in the 22%. I would stick there. I would stay there. See how that feels. Okay? I really would. I would just like let yourself feel like, okay, I've got some breathing room. What you're trying to do is over the course of this year, get that money into the retirement account back up to, like you said, you get your 9% contribution, right? So they're going to put in 6 and 9. We want you to be able to put in, say, 10%. That's where I want you to be. And then I want you to try to live within your means. No credit card debt that piles up. We got to get you like back on track. I swear, I know that this is like all about like just having kids around and stuff comes up, but I don't think that's a forever thing. I think you should start looking for a place down south and really think about that. And if you can buy something for $350, then you're golden. And that's great. And you can start to really do that. If you come back to me and say, there's no way I can do $350, it's really $550, then it's not going to happen that way. Then it's back to like, well, then what? Then we're going to have to figure out, like, do you sell in the next 4 years and then just rent somewhere and see where you are and see what the expenses would be and see what the market is. But, I think if you're willing to work for 9 or 10 more years, we know your Social Security benefit will be pretty close to what your expense need is. You have saved some money, which is great. You've saved money in retirement accounts. This is all good news. But I do think that we've got to relieve the pressure right now. And that's number one. And the way to do that, pay off the credit card debt, make sure that CD rolls into your cash account. So you'll once again, you're going to have 20 grand in there. It'll be good, right? And that's your money. It's your safety net. Make sure that you get slowly but surely, get money into that retirement account, get to a 10% level, live within your means, and let's start looking for a place down south. How's that sound?
It sounds doable. I was concerned. I was concerned that the percentage that I was contributing to the 401k was not enough. I was trying to forecast. It probably
isn't, but so what? I need to get you out from underneath this. We need to I'll tell you what, if we get you out from underneath the credit card debt and you start to just kind of breathe a little bit and you really start to say, what can I put into this? That's when you start to knock it up a little bit. And so you say, all right, I'm at 6%. Then 3 months later, go to 8%. Then 3 months later, go to 10%. And let's see how your cash flow is. It's more important, frankly, that I get your cash flow right than your retirement contributions right. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay, makes sense.
Right? Now, do you have your estate documents done?
It's something that I need to update.
All right.
Now that
I hope you
everybody's...
don't have an ex that's still the beneficiary of everything.
No. We changed that.
Good. Okay. And old life insurance kicking around? Anything out there?
I do have one that's going to be, I think the termination is sometime this year. So I probably won't renew that.
Definitely don't. Anything else on your end that I can help you with? No,
I don't think so. Makes me feel a little bit more comfortable with what I'm doing.
Keep breathing. Let's get this debt paid off and go from there. And we're here for you if you need us. Okay.
Great. Thank you so much.
So once we get that debt paid off and April comes around and file your taxes and get your retirement account up to 6%, then we'll have the second phase of this. All right.
Sounds good.
If you would like to join us and talk about something going on in your financial life, it's so easy. Just go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and we'll get your note. Don't forget to let us know if you want to join us live. Mark does everything else. We'll be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. Let's get to an email from Bob, who writes, first of all, I love your show. I listen every single morning. Second, I'm a chicken. I'll never come on the show. That's okay, Bob. That's why we have emails. Okay, Bob's question is, if we contribute only $1,200 a year, will we be able to retire at age 62? We're in our early 30s. Our annual spend is about $90,000 a year. Our assets include $200,000 in a pre-tax retirement account, $100,000 in a Roth. My partner is eligible for a pension, which I did not include in the numbers above. We have a mortgage with $200,000 left. It's got a low interest rate. According to the compound interest calculator, if we invest $200 a month for the next 30 years and let it compound, we should have about $2.1 million in retirement. And that meets our retirement needs. What are your thoughts? I need the Jill and Mark stamp of approval to know if this can work or not. Well, this is great news in a couple of ways. One is that you actually ran the numbers, which I love. And for any of you who want to do something like this, we do have calculators on our website. And of course, there are a ton of resources, usually at the places where you have your investments. I guess the fly in the ointment is just this. First of all, you're really young. You're in your early 30s. And so that annual spend this year of $90,000 a year obviously has to get inflated. Also, you didn't mention whether or not you have kids, want to have kids, whether there are other people you have to take care of. I guess that the aspect of this that is so hard is that when we look and project out for so many years, a million things are going to change in your life. So, Bob, here's what I think. It may be able to work, but I'd love for you to just test this on an annual basis. And then you'll have a lot more security that you are moving forward in the way that is responsible for you and for your family. This is from Mike. My wife and I are 59 and 58, retiring in the next 4 to 5 years, have about $900,000 in my pension. Oh my gosh, $550,000 in my 401k. My wife's 401k is around $25,000. We've got savings of around $200,000 and 2 whole life policies with a combined value of around $100,000. We've been very dissatisfied with the communication from the life insurance company, and we're thinking about pulling that money out and terminating the policies. We'd like to know, what's the best investment to put that $100,000 into? Is it the 401k or some other vehicle? We don't want to pay a penalty. We don't want to lose the money. Your thoughts would be greatly appreciated. Okay, the thing that is so hard with life insurance policies is just this. They're quite complicated. So the first thing you want to do is just take that whole life policy statement, call the 800 number, and ask whoever is the representative, what is the tax liability if we were to terminate this policy? The reason I'm asking this question is not because I think that you should stay in the policy, but it is merely to understand the consequence of terminating the policy. Because if you have put in less money than the actual cash value out, then it could be that you owe some tax, and it adds to your income whenever you file your taxes. That's one of the reasons that some policies are really tough because, instead of paying capital gains like you would in an investment account with these permanent life policies, if it's more than the money you put in, it's just plain old ordinary income. So it gets taxed at usually a higher rate. So we want to know, one, what is the tax liability? And if it's not too big a tax liability, you could pull the money out, set aside the money necessary for taxes, and then you could invest it in a brokerage account. I don't think that you would be able to put this in a 401k or an IRA unless this policy is somehow inside of an IRA account, but I doubt it is. So you would just open a brokerage account. And alternatively, one last thing to remember, if you're going to retire in 4 or 5 years and maybe your income's going to go down dramatically, then maybe you wait to pull the money out. You should also inquire with the insurance company, what are the rules that they have around borrowing out of whole life policies? So you got some homework. You're going to get out of this. It's just a question of when and making sure that you understand what the tax consequences would be. This is from Diane. She says, I'm 64. I'll be 65 this year. I am married. I'm still working. I plan to keep working until I'm 67. I have approximately $1.1 million in my retirement account, and this is my first time taking a withdrawal. I need at least $150,000 to pay off a student loan of approximately $28,000. These carry interest rates of 9 to 11%. To open an emergency reserve fund, to buy a new car. My car is 15 years old, needs major repairs. And the rest to renovate my home's exterior and interior. Not major renovations, but needed. I have a mortgage balance of approximately $190,000. Can you help me estimate my total taxable liability, federal, state, and New York City, if I were to take out $150,000? My husband and I had a total adjusted gross income for 2022 of around just under $300,000. Our taxable income was $267-ish. I think that puts our tax rate, you mean your top tax rate, at 24%. I would also like the total tax amounts to be taken out of the retirement account. All right, so look, your top bracket right now is 24%. The problem that I see is that if you take 150 grand out, you're going to pop on up to the 32% bracket probably. And so I think what you may want to do is, can you delay the home renovation? Can we keep you in a top bracket of 24% for this year, 2024, so that you don't pop up into another bracket? And really, the big question is, is this all necessary right this second? Because you're triggering a taxable event, which maybe we can kind of phase in. I would really caution you against doing this until you really take pen to paper, and you can just go to the irs.gov website. There are plenty of resources there just to look at tax brackets. But I don't know. It seems like, if this is not actually totally necessary today, I would delay it, because you are going to be putting yourself in a worse situation from a tax perspective. Maybe get back in touch with us, because we could perhaps come up with a better solution than the one that you have landed on. It's the Jill on Money Show. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger takes the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's the Jill on Money Show, the program that takes the mystery out of your financial life. If you've got a financial question, just go to our website, jillonmoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and write us your note. While you're on the website, don't forget to subscribe to our cool service. It's called Jill on Money Live, and for $35, you get to participate in 4 quarterly live webinars and really check out some cool bonus video content that we don't make available to everybody. So $35 for a whole year. Our next webinar is with Cal Newport. He is the king of productivity, and he's just written a book, Slow Productivity, The Lost Art of Accomplishment Without Burnout. Right now, let's get to an email. This is from Anonymous. My 401k is in the Vanguard Target Retirement 2030 Fund. I plan to retire at age 65, which will be in 2028. Should I stick with this fund after I retire? Or maybe is it better to convert to something else? If I should and diversify in other ways, should I convert to other investments in 2028 when I retire, or in 2030 when the fund has reached its target? It seems a little strange to stay in a target date fund after the target date has passed. And there's a second question, but I'm going to answer that in a second. So the answer to this is that target date funds are meant to take you through retirement, not just to retirement. So chances are the Vanguard Target Retirement Fund will move to a less aggressive stance each year as you approach 2030, and then move to more of an income-based portfolio after that. However, this really does depend on anything else that's going on in your life. And I think that we would really need to talk about what else you have invested, other money that you have as income, when you plan to take Social Security, and maybe we could come up with a game plan where you could stay in the target date fund, but maybe we would make a plan where we would say, let's shift it. The follow-up question is really about how do you know the right diversification after retirement? And as you would imagine, the answer is it depends on who you are and what's going on in your life. You know, retirement is not a magic moment in time. It is really about maybe a shift in you actually no longer making money, but maybe you have a pension. Maybe you have Social Security. Maybe you have rental income. So we might change the diversification and allocation of a portfolio as your needs change. But these are your needs. And the thing that's really important for everyone to remember is that just because you're young or you're older or anything, it doesn't mean that you should have a certain type of portfolio. It is always predicated on what's going on in your life. Okay. Christy listens to the podcast daily on her commute to work. She lives in the New York City area. My husband has become incredibly interested in options trading. I was an options trader. You're talking to the right girl. He is considering a new endeavor. I'm not sure that YouTube is the best source of advice here. My husband is incredibly capable, a PhD level scientist running a research program at a top medical school in the country for many years. I don't think he's got the foggiest idea how to get more education, formal or otherwise, in order to make this his next endeavor. I'm terrified that in his excitement, he'll lose our life savings. I know that you were an options trader once. Yes. Given your experience in our NYC residence, could you recommend a way for him to get more information from credible sources? Yes, I can do that. Give me a second. Most of what he brings to me comes from random internet sources. To be frank, they seem like scams that promise to teach you all you need for 10 grand. While we have the money, I feel uncomfortable that many of these companies don't seem legit. Also, Jill, am I crazy? Their websites are all of traders' success stories, and they're all men? Yeah, they are. They're dopes. Anyway, this is likely far removed from your normal question, likely not fit for your show. Yeah, it's fit. Everything's fit for the show. Any advice you could give would be much appreciated. Okay, I'd love to talk to your husband. How about this? I'm going to give your husband carte blanche to get on the show with me. First of all, there are many wonderful books that he should be reading to familiarize himself with options, okay? And this, you don't have to take a course. You don't have to take a course, all right? And anything that promises you to get rich quick is useless. It's absolutely useless because you know it is just a scam. And if he's so smart, he is not going to need a course to do this. I'm hold on. I'm going to just lean over to my bookcase for a second and look at some of these titles. Stand by. Yeah, I got like 6 books in my bookcase, and they're all really, if you understand statistics, and I think as maybe he's a researcher, he probably does, that's kind of the key to options. But here's the real issue. Christy, I would like to talk to both of you at the same time so that we can come up with a game plan for how he could do this and experiment without blowing everything. So the first thing that has to happen is, as you know, in a great money reset, is we have to see where you are today. And that would mean that we look at how much money you guys have accumulated and whether or not there is some fraction of that we could, hive off to create an options trading account where your husband starts learning whether or not he can really do this. I would never give up my full-time job for this. The last person I know who told me about this, just to be clear, is somebody who got caught up in the Madoff scandal. And she told me all about her grand idea about how she was going to trade options to make money. And, not only did she lose her big fortune with Madoff, she got a bunch of it back. She then very quickly found a way to lose about 40% of it trading options. So there's your scary story. You're right to be nervous. He is really fooling himself. And just because you actually have a PhD doesn't mean you have any common sense. That's my 2 cents. It's the Jill on Money Show. We'll be right back. You're back. It's the Jill on Money Show, and we are here answering financial questions. In addition to getting you on the air, we also like to make sure we read emails because we know some of you are a bit shy. So this email is from Lindsay, who writes, when I first started working and could contribute to a 401k, I was all in on pre-tax. I'm now 36 years old, making $105,000 a year. Should I focus my contributions towards a Roth now? Is there a balance of thought to aim for when I'm decades away from retiring? Lindsay, this is a great question. So remember, the difference between a Roth and a traditional is when you pay the tax. With a traditional, you are waiting to pay the tax due on the money that is in an account for retirement until later when you do retire. With a Roth, you're paying the tax today. And I think there's two aspects of why I love the Roth so much. One is that it takes the question mark of paying taxes later in life out of your realm, because we don't know what's going to happen to tax rates. Right now, they're very low, but they could go up in the future. Also, when you have a person who is as young as you are in your 30s, you have so much time to accumulate the money. I think paying the tax now is likely to be a better bet for you. So when we're thinking about paying tax today versus in the future, the security of knowing what that tax bill will be today, I think is a great advantage. And also, taxes are at historically low levels, or rather the tax rates are at historically low levels. So why not lock it in right now? Why not pay the tax due? Let all that money accumulate, Lindsay, and when you retire in decades, you will pull the money out of those Roth accounts and there will be no tax due. And that's kind of cool. So I think it is a Roth kind of world for someone like you. If you want to know whether a Roth or a traditional is better for your situation, all you need to do is hop onto our website, JillOnMoney.com, and click the Contact Us button. We'll be able to give you a better analysis than just a broad-based bit of analysis. Okay, the Jill on Money Show will be right back.
It's the weekend, and that can only mean one thing. You're listening to Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome, welcome. It's hour number 2 of the Jill on Money Show. We are here trying to help you make better financial decisions. In order to get in touch with us, all you need to do is go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, and click the Contact Us button. While you're there, you can check out all of our content. It lives at the JillOnMoney.com website. So there are podcasts, there's a blog, there's a video section, there's resources, so much there. Right now, let's talk to Michael and Mary. They're hanging out in Boca. Boca, baby. Whenever I hear Boca, Michael, I think of that Seinfeld episode where it's like Boca del Grande or something. It's like where where Seinfeld goes and visits his parents. So how's the weather in Boca, baby?
It's a little cloudy today, and that from Seinfeld was Boca del Vista.
Boca del Vista. And he was like on the board. It was fabulous. All right. You guys don't live there. You're just hanging out and having fun, right?
Yes, actually, we're visiting my mother.
Oh, that's nice. What a good son and daughter-in-law you are. So what's going on with you? What brings you to our program?
Well, we're thinking about buying another home or a condo, and we just needed some advice to see if this was financially reasonable and get some advice on those issues.
Okay, that sounds good. How old are you guys?
I'm 69, and my wife is 63.
Yeah. You, by the way, Mary, you sound much better and younger. You haven't even spoken yet. I just said that. And are you guys retired or still working?
I'm retired. My wife works part-time still.
Mary, don't let him talk for you. I want to hear from you. So you're working part-time. How much do you make, Mary?
Oh, it varies because I'm a nurse and I work very part-time. I'm enjoying kind of semi-retirement already. So I make around $45,000 a year, working maybe 6 months out of the year.
That's awesome. So right now, in addition to the part-time nursing income, what is the other source of income that you guys have?
The main sources of income is pensions investment income.
Social Security yet or not?
No, I'm going to hold off. Next year I turn 70. I'm going to claim at 70.
Okay. How much are the pensions, the total of the pensions?
The total gross pensions is $135,000.
Yowza. That's good. And gross because you pay healthcare out of that, or what else?
There's other things that are taken out. So the take home actually is about 100,000.
Can you live on that 100,000, or do you need the 45 of the part-time nursing income?
Probably need the extra income.
All of it? Like, do you know how much you actually spend on terms of expenses?
Yes, I had a spreadsheet. I keep track of that, and we can spend easily 150,000. I think last year.
I didn't say what was easy for you to do. All right. So, but you do need 150 net to you guys. Like that's really the number you think?
I think that's reasonable. Yes.
The Social Security at your age 70, Michael, what will that be?
The Social Security Administration right now on their website says I'll get about $4,400 a month.
That's good. Mary, how much longer do you think that you will continue to earn that nursing income? Is it like getting too much, or do you how many more years do you think?
Well, I'm hoping, long as my health is good, that I will try to work until I'm 67, which is my full retirement age.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you said you have investment income. So let's talk about the money that you have set aside so far. So first of all, tell us about your retirement accounts. What do you have?
To break them down, we have in a Roth account, we have 1.74 million. In a traditional IRA, 420,000. The rest is all taxable. And I can break that down. It's another 4 million.
What? I thought he was about to say 400,000. Mary, what's going on here? How'd you get all this money? This is not all nursing income. You guys have killed it.
Well, my
how'd you get $4 million?
Has been an advocate on financial planning, even with our kids. He's done this pretty much all his life. We're very frugal. We're professionals in our job. But yeah, we've been very frugal and try to live below the means.
Yes, I'll say amazing. All right. Now, let's just be clear about this. You own a home somewhere else. You don't even have to tell me where. What's the primary residence worth?
About $850 to $900.
Is there a mortgage that remains?
No debt.
No debt. Okay. And that's the only thing? There's no other rental income or anything else?
No, the income is from the job and investments.
Okay. So what is it that you would have to pay to buy this other home where maybe you just like hang out and, buy a house in Boca or something? How much money would you have to spend to get what you guys would want?
That's the question we have.
Yes, that's part of the question. We've looked at things, and the prices of houses right now, we're looking at maybe $800,000 to $1 million right now, possibly.
Yeah, so what? So what about the $4 million in my taxable account?
Well,
are you scared of spending that?
I don't want to spend it right now just because it would incur a very large capital gains, and that probably would push us into another tax bracket and cause other issues.
But right now, if you were to look at that portfolio and maybe plan for not all this happening this year, but if you started to sell some assets this year and some assets next year, are you telling me that you have such just a deep capital gain that you're going up into, like the 35% tax bracket or 37%? Like, what do you think?
It would go right now. We're into this year. It'll probably be the 24% tax bracket or just up against the top of that. So After that, it goes up to 32, I believe.
Yep. And then 35. You're not even close to 37. I'm just kidding you. Mm-hmm. But I mean, there's probably no real way to make that go away, right? As a capital gain, if we're going to make this expenditure. So think about this. Maybe this is exactly the time you should start doing this, because remember, what do we have? We have 2024 and 2025, right? where we absolutely know what the capital gains rates are going to be, right? We know it. We know that your long-term capital gain is, listen, probably for you guys, it's going to end up being 23.8%. It's most likely that's what it's going to be, right? Because, it's if you make more than $250,000 together and there's the whole Medicare surtax, but let's just presume that it's 23.8. So we know that's going to be the case for this year and next year. We don't know that's the case after that. So is it possible that it makes more sense to do this either this year or next year rather than wait to see whether capital gains rates reset higher? What do you think?
I agree with that. The alternative is I've been trying to do a lot of Roth conversions because we're in the lower tax brackets until 25. So that
Yeah, but you know what? But wait a second. Most of your money is in Roth now, of the retirement, right? So you've done a great job. More with Michael and Mary in a moment. It's the Jill on Money Show.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. Let's get back to Michael and Mary. You now, to me, have a really unique opportunity, which is you want to buy the second home. I mean, presuming you really want to and you've tested this all out, right? But if you say, okay, no, we're sure we want to do this. We want nice weather, whatever. I wouldn't be so scared. I mean, you're young, meaning that, you can pull the trigger this year, take some of this money out of the taxable instead of converting, and then you have time to take the money out of the pre-tax traditional environment. You have 5 more years before you have to, right? 75. Is that 75 you or 73?
I should be 73.
73. So you got 3 years for you and then more years for Mary. So in the conversion process of that traditional, what part of that is yours? What is hers?
The entire traditional is Mary's.
Perfect. That's even better because Mary is a young, spry nurse. And that means that she doesn't have that 73. She has till 75.
Correct.
So she could start dribbling out that traditional money at any time to start pulling money out. In fact, I'm not even sure I would convert it. I mean, you just can take it out and it'll be fine. I mean, you got plenty, you have plenty of money for retirement, right? Do you know that?
Yes, I do know that.
Mary, you on board? You got that, right?
Yes, but at the same time, we want to help the kids a little bit too, so.
Oh, the kids. I knew there was going to be something extra. Tell me about the kids. How old are they?
29 and 25.
When you say help the kids out, is there something that's happening for them? Are they launched or do they, like when you say help out, what do you mean?
Just help them out eventually if they want to eventually buy a place. They're renting right now. Where they live is probably a little difficult for them to buy a place right now. So no, they are launched. They're out of the house. They live. They live in different places. So it's just helping them out with any real big expenses, like if they wanted to buy a house.
I mean, I still think you can help them out. And even if your taxable, okay, first of all, a few fun things to remember. If your taxable account goes from $4 million to $3 million and you buy $1 million condo, your balance sheet has not changed, right? We've just moved one asset, which is a liquid asset, into an illiquid asset. If you ever wanted to sell that place and, do something else, it's still an asset, right? It's not, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that you have so much money saved that there is, to me, no problem of converting a liquid asset. In this case, you got so much money, the 4 million plus the 1.7 in the Roth. You've got this available. You can do this. You have to give yourselves permission to do it. Nothing bad's going to happen to you. Is it possible that, 5 or 8 years from now, you guys say to me, oh, each kid we really want to help. We're going to help them with a down payment. We're going to give them $250,000 each to buy something. You could do that too. I wouldn't do that right now. First of all, they don't want it right now. But also, I think that you don't feel confident, even though you know in like sort of big picture, we're fine. But when you get to be 70 and the Social Security comes in, and Mary, you start to say, yeah, I don't need this part-time anymore. I think you're probably a few years away. But if those kids needed help, you could help them. You would absolutely be able to help them. Do you have money that's just sitting in the bank right now?
Yes, that's what I was just going to bring up. I've been raising cash over the last year, and right now we have $1 million sitting in a money market fund.
Oh, stop it. Stop this. Stop this nonsense. Stop the insanity. You don't even need to sell out the taxable account then. I mean, you could sell some out.
I think we're just used to saving, not spending.
I know. Do you need me to come to Boca and help you learn how to spend money?
It's hard.
I could do a charitable trip down there.
It's hard to go from the accumulation phase to the spending phase.
Yes, we say accumulation to decumulation. But I want to be clear. You have all the money in the world to do what you want. Do you feel like your kids, are they financially secure? Do you want to do some gifting to them to get them on their way?
Yes, I would like to start, over time gifting to each one of them. Yes.
And they're both good kids. They're not going to be spendthrifts, right?
Hopefully not. But that's a loaded question.
No,
boy.
I have faith in my kids. They're very good.
I mean, you guys are very good. So I imagine they came out that way. Listen, you can do a few different things. So number one, go buy your gosh darn place. Go spend your $1 million and do it now. I implore you. I do think that from the taxable account perspective, if you need a little bit more cash, that, you start cleaning things up. And like you said, you're hoarding cash a little bit. You can take some of the money that's in the bank and you can either use it towards the house itself. So you might say, you know what? We can buy an $800,000 house. We'll keep $200,000 in the bank because we like having cash. We'll take $200,000 out of the taxable account. We're done. Right? And that's easy. You should do that. I would do that immediately. I would not be so hyper about converting your traditional to a Roth because I just think Mary's age suggests that we could just pull money out as needed. Frankly, you could just take some money out every year and stay within the tax bracket that's comfortable for you. And I do think that if you want to start gifting to the kids, once you do the house and you got that all settled, you could just start, instead of saying, oh, we want to help them with an actual down payment. Maybe they don't want that. Maybe you should start gifting them some money. Maybe you should say, you know what, we're going to give them $18,000 a year each, $36,000 each year. And that's tax-free to them and help them start building their own financial futures. And maybe that's a better way for you. Maybe you'd feel more comfortable doing it that way and helping them, especially Michael, since you're really into this, really help them understand, like, this is how you start an investment account. This is how you do it. I mean, you're in such beautiful shape. I would hate for you to forego doing something you want to do because you are in great financial condition.
My husband has a hard time doing that. I tell him that all the time, that he needs money therapy.
Oh, well, I'm giving it to you.
Thank you.
But right? This is what everyone needs, an Auntie Jill for this exact reason. Because here, I know this kind of person. I have been involved with people like Michael in my life. And I think what happens is, as you aptly said, accumulation, putting money away, that's how we live. We know, and you get it. But decumulation, spending the money, is hard. So how do we make it a little bit easier for you? Michael, you deserve this. This is a great, you've done a terrific job. You've worked really hard. You've put your money away. Great. But I think once you convert that money, I have a feeling in your head, you say to yourself, that's the kids' money. That's not my money. And then you won't spend it. So that's why I'm reluctant to have you keep converting, because I don't think you're going to have fun. I mean, you're going to have fun. You got Mary. I think it would make a lot more sense if you can use that for cash flow and spend it. And now you don't have to worry about converting it. Just spend it and stay within a tax bracket that feels comfortable for you. And don't look back. You should go out and buy the thing you want to buy. Your kids are going to be fine. Your kids are going to be fine. Truly. It's not going to be a problem. And what else is? I heard a whisper. What else? What else do you want to ask?
No, she's just agreeing with you. That's all.
Absolutely, Jill. I've been telling him this since he retired. We should, we may have next 10 years to enjoy ourselves before we may not have the strength to travel and do stuff.
That's right. And, Mary, how often I don't know what kind of nurse you are, but, you encounter people who will say to you, like, oh, if I only knew that if I had, like, I only knew before I got this diagnosis. I don't want to be all Debbie Downer on you, but like, life is short, dude. And you get a chance to actually like have fun, enjoy it. You're not going to be a spendthrift. You are not made that way. I could not make you become spenders in a huge way, but you got to give yourself permission to enjoy what you have. Your kids are going to be amazing because I already know that they will, at the very least, inherit a Roth IRA that'll be, millions of dollars. It'll be a primary residence. There'll be another second home. Like they're going to be fine. You will be able to help them. You have liquidity. You're not even making a huge, big decision. All we're saying is we want to give you the ability to buy this home, have some confidence that you can pull some money out of your pre-tax accounts and live on that money. I don't even want you to convert it anymore. Everyone listening, don't shut your ears because maybe you do need to convert. But in this case, I know these people. I know once you convert it, you're never going to spend it. It's the Jill on Money Show. We'll be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. Let's talk to Leslie from Washington State.
So I have been asked a couple years ago to take over finances for my ex-in-laws.
What? Wait a second. You have an ex-spouse.
Yes.
And that spouse is alive?
Yes.
But that ex-spouse is such a bust out financially that his parents need you to take over their finances?
They asked me to do that. They're very elderly. I'm very close to them. And their son remarried, but he's out of town a lot.
I've got to hear a story about this, but it's going to be over cocktails, not over morning conversation. Let's forget about the stupid son. Okay, how old are those parents?
91 and 88.
Holy moly! And they live on their own right now?
They live on their own, but my son takes care of them. He lives in the home with them.
Oh, that's so nice. How old is your son?
He's 28.
Are they okay, like health-wise or what?
Well, yeah. So actually they are okay health-wise. They've got, they're 91 and 88. So
yeah, they do
have some, right. They do have some, disabilities, they can't get up, a lot. They don't go out a lot. My son does a lot of the cooking and running around and things like that for them.
Who is this son? I want to marry him. He sounds like an absolute gem.
Such a sweetheart. He's got such a good
gosh.
Heart. I know.
And your son is single right now or is with somebody in that house with them?
He's single.
Everyone in Washington State, there's a nice 28-year-old ready for helping you. How much is that house worth that they live in?
The house is only worth about $94,000.
Okay. No mortgage anymore.
No, they do have a mortgage.
Oh, all right. Tell me about that.
They owe $50,000 on the house.
Okay.
And then before I took finances, this is all before I took over.
Of course, I will not hold you responsible for any of these. The next part of our conversation.
And then I found out that they have a HELOC.
Oh, hello.
$100,000 in the HELOC.
Wait. They have an outstanding mortgage of $50,000. There's a home equity line of credit of $100,000, but the house is only worth $94,000, I thought.
The land sits on over $1 million.
Oh, that was an important thing.
Yes.
Okay.
So the house is only worth $94,000. The land. The land sits in a very sought after location.
right now, the mortgage, that $50,000, what's the interest rate on that?
The mortgage interest rate is at 5.25.
Okay. And the HELOC?
The HELOC is an adjustable rate, and it's at almost 9%.
I already don't like this.
Yes, that's the problem I'm having, is that it just keeps going up and up. And
Sure. So it's got to be 8, 9-ish now?
8.99%.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So do they have any assets?
Not really. No.
Okay.
Just the
And
house.
what's the income? They've got Social Security, any pension?
Yes, they've got a pension coming in. So their Social Security and pension, all of that adds up to about 32,000 or 3,200 a month. Right. And then between the two mortgages, it's about 1,500. So the bills are about 1,000. So we're
It's getting tight.
Yeah, it's very tight. And while they're making it, I'm making it work.
Yeah, because you're a magician.
I'm worried that you end up having, car trouble or
Sure.
like that. They have 2,000 in savings, and that's it.
Just to be completely dopey about this, the land that's the house and the land, but there's no way to like sell a parcel of the land. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So it's like we're in this house until we die.
Yes.
Who are the beneficiaries of their estate? Your bust out ex and who else?
His brother.
And what about your son who's basically taking care of them? Are they doing anything for him?
I don't think so. I don't know. I mean, he stays there rent free.
But yeah, I mean, okay, that's the least of what they could do considering that he's taking care of them. All right. So have you been appointed like power of attorney for them?
Yes.
Have you looked at their estate documents or not?
Yeah, I have a little bit. So I've seen their will.
Uh-huh.
And I know that their estate sits in a trust.
Okay.
But I'm not given a whole lot of information. They're kind of private, but also I haven't been able to snoop around to find stuff.
I know. I'm so with you, babe. I'm like rifling through files in that moment, right? Like, well, let me see what's here.
Yes.
Because there's an idea that I have, but it would be they'd have to alter their estate documents to do the idea, to execute the idea, to help them out right now. So now we have this situation, but now I want to know a little bit about Leslie, not your former in-laws. So you are how old, Leslie?
I'm 54.
Okay. Are you married? Remarried?
Yes.
Okay. And how old is your spouse?
53.
Okay. Do you guys have like a good trajectory for your own retirement right now? Like, tell me a little bit about what you guys have done, money you've saved, etc.
Yes. So both of us have deferred comp. Both of us have retirement. I have a city retirement. I work for city and then a government. And then both of us have a state retirement.
Wow. So you're going to have real income through
Yes.
pensions. How much money do you have in just like let's say outside of retirement? Do you have any savings that you have?
Not really to speak of, but we're working on that. We are about 2 or 3 months from paying our house off.
Ooh, okay. Wow.
So then we're going to really buckle down and start gearing up for retirement.
So here's, because I have a thought about the in-laws. There is a possibility that we could essentially say to your in-laws, you've got this big problem, like I'm making it work, but there could come a time where I need to start paying these bills for you. Okay? And in which case, I need to make sure that I get that money back when you die. We'll get back to Leslie in a moment. It's Jill on Money.
Welcome back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger takes the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's the Jill on Money Show, and we are here trying to help you make better financial decisions. If you'd like to join us, just go to our website, jillonmoney.com. Let's get back to Leslie, who's on the line from Washington State. How much is your mortgage payment right now?
Like $1,400.
Okay, so you could be like, all right, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take over when my mortgage is done. I'll take over your mortgage payments, and then you will reimburse me at your death, because there's no money in this estate. You can't get anything till they die. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and really, I'm not exactly sure how this is all going to go. Like, your stupid ex-husband who's doing nothing, like, they're going to have to agree to this, because is your ex-husband, does he have any money? Does the brother have any money?
Brother, probably not so much. Ex-husband does.
You can say to your ex-husband, do you talk to him or not?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you can say, look, they've taken over. Let's go to him first. Forget about you. Hey, you know what? We got a problem here. Does he know the numbers or not?
Not really, no.
So you're going to have to educate him. You're going to have to show him that they're in big trouble, and that he is going to probably have to be responsible for paying these bills. And if he wants to be kind of an ass about it, he can say, well, I'll pay these bills, and I'm going to make sure that my brother, who has no money, like, I get paid back when my parents die.
Right.
But if he has money, maybe he would just like let it go. You know, it's not a forever situation, but someone's going to have to pay these bills.
Yes.
And if he could make the payments on the mortgage directly, that would seem to me the very best thing that he could do. If he has a whole bunch of money that is like available, and he wants to pay off like 50 grand of the HELOC, that's fine. But like, it's probably, I don't know if he has that or not. But then all you need to do is you have to adjust the estate documents that say he's made these payments and will get repaid out of the proceeds. It makes so much more sense that it's him, really, because it's like, this is insanity. How do you think they got into this situation? They were so private that they just couldn't tell anybody they were running into a problem?
I think so. When I took over, she just was in over her head.
Yeah.
And like I said, some of that came to light when I took over. I was shocked to learn that they had a HELOC. I kind of knew that they had a mortgage, because she was writing checks, which I said, okay, we can't stop writing checks, because we can't even read the checks anymore. And then I found out later that they had a HELOC on top of that, which, yeah. And I know that they needed a new roof. And I think that's kind of where it started.
Yeah. And then someone at a local bank was like, well, you know, you got this $1 million piece of land, and we can give you a HELOC at 2% or 3%. That's nothing. And with no idea that rates would jump so quickly. And this is where we are.
Yes.
I think we have to have I think what you should do also is that, like, do you think that if you have this conversation with your ex, that he's going to be like, I want to see the receipts, like, go in prepared, or is he going to be like, oh my God, let me help?
It's hard to say. He's a little bitter about not being involved in their finances and not picking him to do the finances.
I wonder why. If he's that bitter, this could get kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't do anything without him knowing it, right?
Yeah.
I would be fully disclosing of all this information, and maybe just say, hey, look, they're not my parents. I'm happy to help them with bill paying, but like, these are bigger issues. I'm going back on myself, and I don't even think I want you to pay $1 of anything, because I'm not sure if he's in that kind of mode, as opposed to being in like deep appreciation mode, that if he's in bitter mode, then I'm worried that this comes back and bites you in the tush and you'll never get paid. So I think you have to lay it out with him. Do you know who the attorney is who did the will?
Yeah, it's actually a good friend of theirs.
Great. You can say, you know, maybe you should talk to Joe Schmo, our dear friend, and who can help devise a way for you to recoup the money at their death, and then step aside and let that happen. That's it.
I do have a question about that then, if and maybe this would be a question he should ask, but if he did do that and he took it out of his, because I can see him taking it out of his, like a retirement or some deferred comp, and maybe that he'd get penalized for that. Is that correct? He'd get penalized?
Well, wait, how old is he?
60.
No penalty. He'd have to pay tax on it, but no penalty. And, he's going to have to pay tax on it eventually. And maybe he doesn't want to do that. Maybe he'll just say, I'll make the payments and I'll deal with it that way. And I'll make sure I get the payments back.
And then reverse mortgage, he's
no
been pushing for that. Okay. I figured that's what
look, I don't think, I shouldn't say no. So I think there's two choices. I think a reverse mortgage is possible. I wouldn't make that decision on my own. I would involve your ex-husband and his brother, bring them in, say, look, I just want to give you the reality. Here's what we know. Here's the expenses. Here's the income. Here's the debt. I think that we need to bring in you guys have to be on board with whatever happens. You're the beneficiaries of their estate. And we may eat through this entire estate if we use a reverse mortgage, depending on how long they live. And you definitely have to make sure that you have an attorney who can help you with it. So you may want to say, look, guys, we're going to have to bring someone in to help with this situation. But I think I would involve them. I really do, even if they both hate the idea that you're doing so. Because you're not the beneficiary of this.
No.
They're going to have to make hard decisions about their own family. And they're going to have to be big boys and grow up. Jill on Money. We'll be right back. You're back. It's Jill on Money. And before we conclude the program, let's do another email. This is from D, who writes, I'm 60 years old and married with no children. Both me and my spouse are both working. Our home is worth $400,000 and we have $30,000 remaining on the mortgage. The interest rate is 3.25%. We may sell in 5 years and find a smaller home with a better configuration as we age. Should we use some of our assets to just pay off the mortgage now? D, absolutely not. There's a few reasons for this. Number one, your mortgage interest rate is so low that I would really be loath to tell anyone to pay off a 3.25% loan. Number two, you may be selling your home in 5 years, and in which case, paying off the mortgage makes absolutely no sense because you're going to just have that money tied up in a mortgage and you're going to sell the house anyway. And I think the most important thing is that as you get older, having liquidity or access to your money, it is vital. And therefore, I really want people to think twice before they start just paying off mortgages with assets that could be really important to them, especially as they age. I hope that helps. And I know there are so many of you out there who have this very similar question about paying off a mortgage. Emotionally, it feels great. Financially, may not be the best idea in the world. It's even better if you want to join us on the program because that way we can ask some follow-up questions because maybe paying down a mortgage will be good for you. Maybe you have a much higher mortgage rate. Maybe there are some reasons that the emotional payoff is worth the bad idea of the financial aspect of paying down a mortgage. Either way, we just know that hearing from you directly is a better way forward than just kind of guessing about this stuff. So give us a holler. Again, Jill on Money. That is our website. It is where all of our content lives. Our music is composed by Joel Goodman. Mark Talercio is our executive producer and king of all things web. We encourage everyone to try to do something nice for someone else today. It's going to make that person feel good. It's going to make you feel even better. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.